Don't forget about the most important prep of all. Now we will be doing a whole review on this case, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail today, but I am going to show you a little bit of what's inside. And now back here I've got something that is also health related. These are actually black soldier fly larvae, like grubs. They're not live, they're dead. If you stay tuned to a little bit later in the video, I will show you how this works. Hey guys, it's Jara with Wicked Prepared. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I have a prepper pantry haul, and I have some really exciting stuff that I've picked up to add to our preps and our supplies. Now, since we've just started a new year, a lot of what I'm showing today falls into a couple of categories. I'm not a really big believer in New Year's resolutions. Honestly, I think there's something that's kind of made to be broken. People tend to set themselves up for failure. With that being said, there are a couple of times a year for me when it just kind of feels like a good natural time to have a fresh start, to start some new habits and some new systems. One of these times for me is always back to school time, and one is New Year's. Let me know down in the comments, do you make New Year's resolutions? And if so, what kind? Today, I've got quite a few things that relate to health, wellness, and immunity, and also to new systems, organization, and streamlining. If you really think about it, when it comes to prepping, your health is paramount. It's so important to have good physical health and fitness, mental clarity, and a strong immune system. That can go a long way towards getting you through a crisis, especially when medical care might be lacking or non-existent, and daily life might be a lot more strenuous than many of us are used to. We've got to have good health and physical fitness. Everyone has different struggles and a different starting point, and you or I may not ever be the healthiest, most physically fit person in the world or even in the room, but each and every one of us can become at least a little bit healthier and more fit than we are today. And that's important. If we don't have our health, it may not matter how much food or supplies we have stockpiled. So I've used this time of new beginnings to take the plunge with some new products I've been eyeing for a while. We're going to try them out and see if they make a difference. And if they do, we're going to be working on stocking up on them and building a supply. I'm going to start right over here, and everything over here is really related to health and wellness and all of that kind of stuff. And the first thing I've got here is an emergency antibiotic supply. This one's from Contingency Medical. I think by now we all know why it's important to have a personal backup emergency supply of antibiotics and other medications that usually are available by prescription only, because there may be coming a time when we wouldn't be able to get these medications anymore for whatever reason. This was huge for me when I was able to add this to our preps, and I'm so glad that we are now living in a time when there are companies like Contingency Medical where you can get human antibiotics prescribed by doctors for humans, and we're not relegated to buying fish antibiotics and things like that like we used to be. Now, we will be doing a whole review on this case, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail today, but I am going to show you a little bit of what's inside. So I love how this is in a nice, like, hard-sided case. This is actually really nice. And of course, it's got all the different medications, some bottles, and then I've never seen this before. Some of them are in these Mylar type of bags. Now, I'm not going to really go over what's in these on the bottles because, of course, they've got some identifying information on those bottles. But they did come with all these there's a little pamphlet for each thing that's in here, so I can go over these. So there's cephalexin, amoxicillin, zithromycin, nitrofurantoin, I don't know if I said that right, doxycycline, ondansetron, and loperamide. A couple of these are for like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, things like that. Most of them are antibiotics for a wide variety of different things. And then you've kind of got the same thing inside this field guide, so there's a lot of redundancy. I like that. And this lists out different types of infections and what you would use to treat it. I really like that this booklet gives you a first choice and then a second choice for a lot of the different ailments. Now, when I compare this to other kits that we have, it's really kind of difficult to compare because not all the medications are the same. And I think that's a good thing because I know that I'm getting a broader variety of medications by using several different companies over the years to get these kind of things. It's just difficult to compare because I did see there were certain medications that that contingency gave us where the strength was actually stronger than what we've gotten from other companies. And then there were other medications where maybe we got less pills with this kit than we got with another kit. If you know a lot about medications, you might be able to compare better than I do. But of course, that's why we have the booklets that come with the kits. We do have Dr. Alton's books, of course. Written material is really important to have in an emergency when you're not going to be able to run to the internet. But all in all, this is a really, really awesome kit. I am super excited to be adding this to our preps. It really is a huge weight off your shoulders when you know you have that part of your preps taken care of. And then next I've got, well, this actually is just a little, these are liver health drops. It's for cleanse and detox. I tell you what, after the holidays were over, I really feel like I needed this. Now, this was recommended to me by my friend Kathleen over at RX Holistic Nurse Kathleen. She's got a channel and she is an RN and she's just a wealth of information and knowledge about all things health and nutrition, and just kind of keeping ourselves healthy. So go over and check out her channel if you get a chance. She told me about these and recommended these to me, and I really feel like this is something that I really kind of need right now after the holidays. I'm just ready to do a complete overhaul and kind of cleanse all that junk out of my system. And I will have links to everything I talk about here down in the video description if I'm able to, so that you can go check it out for yourself and see if it's something that you might be interested in. Next, I've got a couple of different types of colostrum back here. Now, this is something that I found out about kind of recently, and I've been really wanting to try it, and I kind of just took the new year as my incentive to say, okay, I'm going to try some of these things that I've been learning about and hearing about and really wanted to try. So this is Armra, which is one specific brand of colostrum. This is bovine colostrum, so it comes from cows. Now, these companies say that it's all ethically sourced, that they're not taking anything from, baby calves that the baby calves should be having. So now this colostrum is really supposed to be great for all sorts of things. It's great for your immunity. It's supposed to help with things like weight loss. It's supposed to help with hair and skin and all sorts of things. Now, this was a starter set. I bought starter sets of a lot of stuff because you get a better deal, of course, if it was the first time I was trying it. But in a couple of these cases, I was actually able to add a second kind of starter kit for that low price. And since this is going to be me and Mr. Wicked Prepared, and in some cases other members of the family trying these, I wanted to get as much as I could at that initial price. So I got 2 tubs of the powder here. This is the colostrum powder. It actually says there's 120 servings per container. So that's actually more than I thought. That's better than I thought. So I've really got 240 servings right here of this brand, which is awesome. This is just like a carafe, like a shaker bottle that came with my first order. I guess it's not, I wouldn't say it's a shaker bottle because this isn't really something that like a protein shake or something. It's just a powder. You're not supposed to add it to hot liquids because that can harm some of those biological sort of benefits that we get out of it. So you don't want to add it to hot liquids over 145. So I'm not going to be adding this into my coffee or anything. Just to be on the safe side, I think I'm going to add this either to a cold shake or a cold drink, or I may just, you can dry scoop it and just put it right into your mouth. So I might try that depending on how the flavor is. I'm really excited for my son to try this. This is not something, it's not a claim that that I've ever seen the companies make, but I've seen a lot of people who use these products say that it really helped them with allergies. And of course, my son struggles with allergies, so I really am hoping that this could help him. And of course, allergies are all related to our immune system, so it does make sense to me. So I've got this brand. I got 2 packages. I got the water bottle that comes with it, and then it also comes with a little mixing thing. And then this is just another brand I got to try because it was a really good deal on Amazon and it was much less expensive than the other one. So I think I'm going to be doing some trials with both of these and see, if I seem to get the same effects from them and what I think. But you can see that this is for brain health, immune system, gastrointestinal, your gut health. It does list the amounts of different nutrients that it contains, so I might be able to use that to compare the different brands, but I really just wanted to try both of these, and I may even just use them sort of interchangeably to keep the cost down a little bit. Back here, these are both boxes of Ruby. Now, you've probably heard me talk about this before. I have used this before. I've had this before. I've used it for many years. It's really just fruit and vegetable smoothie packets, and I I really like these for preparedness purposes, and that's why I've had them for so long, because these small thin packets actually contain 4 whole servings of whole fruits and vegetables, because they've just been freeze dried and powdered down. So it's not the juice, it's literally the whole, all of the good parts of the fruit and vegetable, what you really need. And there's actually 4 different varieties that you can get. And it's been a while since I had ordered these, because I had quite a few in our stockpile. So it had been a while since I ordered. So now their ordering system is totally different. You can see that there's actually 4 different flavors or different types. And it used to be you could order, you know, a box of one flavor or the other, or you could order a combination box that came with an equal number of each flavors. Well, now you actually choose the size of your box, your package that you want to get. And of course, the larger of quantity you buy at once, the cheaper it is per packet. So I got the largest quantity they had, but you can completely customize it by picking out the exact number of each flavor that you want. So I basically evenly divided it, because each one contains different fruits and vegetables. And so this way I'm going to get the greatest variety of different fruits and vegetables, because I just saw an article that said that most Americans could add 10 years to their life just by making some dietary changes in middle age. And the 3 things it said we should eat more of was fruits, whole grains, and nuts. Now, I already eat a ton of nuts. I eat nuts every day. And when we do eat grains, we pretty much eat whole grains whenever we can. So those I already have covered. Fruits and vegetables, I struggle with myself, because just the time taken to prepare them usually, and the fact that I might buy them with the best of intentions, and then, you know, they go bad pretty quickly and I end up throwing them away or feeding them to the animals. And each one of these really specializes in something different. Like this is detox and gut health. This one is immune support and skin. This one is energy for your brain, focus, which I really, really need. And this is heart and cardio. So some people who, you know, are focusing on one area or the other will use just one flavor. I feel like I want just the most variety of different fruits and vegetables and the benefits they can give me. So, and I actually think that I might scoop the colostrum into these shakes, because this is going to be something I would have cold. And so I think this is going to be the way I might do this. And the neat thing is, because it had been quite a while since I had ordered these, and they've changed their website around, so the system basically thought it was my first time ordering. So I got the recipe book that it comes with when you get started with different smoothie recipes. And because you can just shake this with water, or you can shake it with milk or almond milk or anything you want, but you can also add it into different recipes. And then it also gave me the free shaker bottle, which you get with your first order. So I already have this, but now I have 2. So that's pretty awesome. And because we have been associated with this company for a long time, I do have a discount code for you. That will be down in the description box as well. And then the last thing I have back here, this is another thing like the Armra. It's something I've had on my list of things I wanted to try for quite a while. It's called Everyday Dose, and it's basically a mushroom coffee beverage. And this was, once again, I got the starter set, and I got, I think, double the starter set, because I wanted to have extra, because there's more than one person going to be using this. Now this set, I actually was the one I hadn't opened to take a look at it. So everything's still in there. So I've got, this one was the one that I opened. And this one came also with its own mixer. And I like this one because it has a cover that covers up the thing, the mixy thing. And of course, it mixes. This is a rechargeable one, and that cover fits right down over it. So it would actually be pretty good for travel if you wanted to take it with you, have it in your car, at your office. And then of course it comes with the mushroom coffee powder. So this is supposed to be good for energy, for inflammation, for brain focus. It has lion's mane mushroom in it, which is really good for your brain and your focus. And I really need that. Like, that is what I need so badly. That's what hopefully all of these products are going to be helping me with. Elevates your mood. It's got all sorts of good things for you. Now, some people buy this as a coffee substitute. They're trying to get rid of their coffee. I have no intention of getting rid of coffee. Coffee is one of my most favorite things in the whole world. I have a total love affair with coffee. I'm looking to use this as something in addition. I have no problems with coffee. I'm going to keep drinking my coffee. You can even mix this with coffee. You can mix it with water. You can mix it with different milks. There's all sorts of things you can do. If you look at what this is supposed to do for you, you've got better sleep, boosted mood and sharper focus, healthy gut, energy, And then it also helps skin, immunity, and metabolism. So that's a lot of benefits to get from one product. And if you look at this one also gives you different recipes you can try and things. So I am so excited to try this out. So this contains things like collagen, which I take. So I'm thinking this might be able to kind of streamline things. So I'm not taking as many different things. It also has nootropics. Now I had to look up, I keep hearing this word and I had to look up what this was. Nootropics are also known as cognitive enhancers or smart drugs. They are a diverse group of medicinal substances whose action improves human thinking, learning, and memory, especially in cases where those functions are impaired. But I'm really excited to see what some of these supplements can do for me. And of course, if we do like these and we like their effects, then we'll be buying a lot more and kind of stocking up on it so that we have a good supply in case we're unable to get it. Now moving on over here, I know I just mentioned nuts and how nuts are really one of the things that can make you much more healthy. They're also really a good thing to have in your prepper pantry in reasonable quantities. Now this is not actually nuts here. This is almond milk. Now this is from Dollar Tree. And I am thinking of probably mixing some of those shakes with almond milk. So I definitely wanted to have some shelf stable in my house, but I was looking at it and these are a quart. So these are half of a half gallon. The almond milk I typically buy from Walmart in the refrigerated section is a half a gallon and it's $2.44. Of course, at Dollar Tree, these are $1.25. So it's essentially the same price, just about. These would be slightly more expensive. It would be $2.50 for the half gallon. So to be able to have them shelf stable, to have smaller quantities that are going to fit really nicely into my fridge, and I'm only opening a quart at a time. So if I'm the only one using them, which I'm usually not, but if I am, I don't have to worry about it going bad before I can use it up. So I may just go with these Dollar Tree almond milks and not even buy the refrigerated kind. But Dollar Tree is really a great source for all of your shelf stable milks. They have, you know, whole milk, 1%, 2%, skim milk, almond milk, oat milk. I've found chocolate milk in containers like these Tetra Paks. These are shelf stable. These are not going to be shelf stable as long as a powder would be. So of course we still store our instant milk powder because that's good for 25 years. So I know I always have that on hand. These usually expire within about a year and they're still good for a while after that date, but they will not last forever. Trust me, I have a lot of personal experience on this. So this is going to be more of your your medium term sort of items. You might plan to buy enough that you can go through in a year and rotate through them. Next, I've got some more nuts. These I got from Amazon. It was a pretty good price. Slivered almonds, I love. We go through a lot of slivered almonds, especially I do, but everyone in the family does. And I like these in my salads. We snack on them. So I've got 4 of these 10-ounce bags here. And we just keep our nuts in a canister, the ones that we're eating out of, and then we have some more on the shelf. And then as we're moving them and rotating them through, we're replacing what we take off the shelf to put into our canisters. So these are just a snacking nut. These are cashews that are dill pickle flavor. These are pretty good. So I have these on my subscribe and save with Amazon. And then these were also from Amazon. These are hazelnuts. This is another favorite nut of mine. I snack on these all the time. I'll just grab a little handful. I also got some plastic scoops that are the perfect serving size for nuts. I'll try to remember to put those down in the descriptions as well. I got a whole set of them so I can just put them into my canisters with my nuts so that I know I'm grabbing a serving size and not just mindlessly snacking on them. Because part of the reason that nuts are good for your prepper pantry is they've got a good amount of protein and a good amount of fat. And so because they've got fat, they are a good concentrated source of calories because, you know, in an SHTF situation, you would need a concentrated source of calories so that you're getting more calories from less food, essentially. So nuts can be really good for that reason, but because of that, they're not going to last for, 10 years. You can usually keep nuts for a year or two. It depends on the nuts. You can vacuum seal them or you can freeze them and things like that to make them last longer. But we rotate through ours pretty quickly, so I try to keep at least a 6-month supply, 6 months to a year. If you look at all the different nuts we have, I'm sure that I have that accomplished, but certain nuts we go through faster than others, and this is one of them. And then this right here, this is my new kitchen baby. My new kitchen toy, my new kitchen tool, I guess you could call it. This is called the Pantry Chic, and it's used to store, measure, and dispense a lot of kitchen ingredients. Now, this isn't necessarily so much a prepping thing, but it's definitely a food prepping tool that I'm going to be using. This will help me any cooking that I do. So including making my meals in a jar and things like that, or if I want to measure out little individual servings or portions of, say, flour or sugar, and seal up certain portion sizes, this will help me. Basically, this system comes with the base unit right here, and the bottom part there is a scale, and then it comes with some canisters. It comes with one of the large ones and two of the small ones, and then I've bought some extras as well, and I'm sure I'll buy more. And the only one I filled up is this one. I put some sugar in that one. So basically these canisters are supposed to be completely airtight, so you can store your food in them. I love how they're like completely square, rectangular shaped, so there's not a lot of wasted space because they don't taper at the bottom or anything. They're not round. They use up every bit of space on your shelf, and they can stack like this. Two smalls will stack on top of a large, or a large can stack on top of a large like this. And you put your ingredients in them, and once you fill one with an ingredient, you snap it into the base here, and then it leads you through the process of registering what is in that canister. And from that point on, anytime you put that canister on your machine, it knows what's in the canister, and you just use the little screen and the little dial here to select how much you want of that ingredient, and it will dispense it for you accurately because it uses weight. And that's really the best way to measure ingredients, especially things like flour. If you've ever had any of your baked goods not turn out very well, or you've seen anyone else who had baked goods that didn't turn out very well, it can be because of the measurements. Now, I typically lightly scoop my flour into the cup and then level it off. You've probably seen me do that. The better way to measure something like flour is actually by weight on a kitchen scale, and I like to do that, but what I find is that it's usually too much bother for me. I have to look up the weight that I'm going for that particular recipe every time I'm going to do it, get out my kitchen scale and all of that. So this is going to do all the calculations for me. So it's going to be a lot more easy, and you get a very accurate measurement that way, because depending on how you measure something like flour, you can get a pretty vastly different measurement in one cup measuring cup, or whatever size measuring cup. If you are loosely scooping your flour in and leveling it off like you're really supposed to, you're going to get a much different measurement than someone that's just running the cup right through their flour bin and scooping it that way, because it's going to pack down. And so this really is like a life-changing way of doing cooking and baking, because I can store the ingredients in these containers, and I can use it to measure out the ingredients right into the bowl that I'm cooking in. So for example, making cookies, I can have my sugar, I'm going to have my flour in a canister. You can have your baking powder, your baking soda. This can keep things like oatmeal, chocolate chips. It can store all different sorts of grains, spices, and things like that. I don't think I'm going to be keeping many spices in this system, because even though these are kind of small canisters, it's still pretty big for a seasoning and a spice. And I have my spice rack system that I love that measures them for me. It measures my spices by 1/4 teaspoon per click. You've probably seen me use that. So I'm going to keep my spices in that. The only ones I might put into this might be something like chili powder and taco seasoning, and seasonings where I tend to use a tablespoon at a time or more. I could see this being useful for those. And I'm going to definitely have my flour, my sugar. It has settings for all different sorts of flours, all different types of flours, bread flours, pastry flours, sifted flour, all-purpose flour, lots of different grains, anything you could possibly want. So if you stay tuned to a little bit later in the video, I will show you how this works. But I am very, very excited to finally have this and to be transferring some of my ingredients into these canisters and getting this system set up. Now, the next thing I got is another kitchen tool that's very similar. This is a kitchen scale. It's pretty simple. I just thought this was really unique, the way that it has the bowl built in, just the way that it's set up. I thought this was really neat. And it also has volume measurements on the inside of the bowl. The bowl detaches from the scale, so you can measure both ways, that way or by weight. So I just thought that was pretty cool. I have used a kitchen scale as one of my kind of most used kitchen tools for a very long time. This is the kitchen scale that I have literally had since college. I got it out of the Betty Crocker catalog. Does anyone else remember the Betty Crocker catalog? I used to obsessively pour through that catalog and cut all my points off of my Betty Crocker items in the pantry. And I got this scale in college as a tool to help me save money, because I realized that I could buy larger containers of things like frozen vegetables and pastas and save money on the unit price and just measure out what I needed. And so I have used this scale. It has been with me from California back to Maine, all over the place, and she's not going anywhere. but you can see it's kind of misshapen and discolored, and it's just been through a lot. So I wanted to try out this one, and it's kind of, in a way, this is like a much more simple and less expensive version of this in a way. But I'll be using this for different things than what I'm going to use the Pantry Chic for. And I'm sure I will still be using my good old Betty Crocker catalog kitchen scale as well. But a kitchen scale is a good tool to have, both for money saving and for accurate cooking. And next, of course, over here I've got some different canned goods, pantry goods that are a little bit different, things I've never tried before. These are a couple cans of medium shrimp. Of course, they have the tiny shrimp or the salad shrimp. I wanted to see how these were, if they're a little bit bigger, and what these could be good for and how these are. So I grabbed a couple cans of these to try. And then, of course, looking at the canned seafood, I found these calamaris. This top one I think I got right at my Walmart, and it's just in sunflower oil. And then I found these online. Can't remember if it was Walmart or Amazon, but I'll put the link in the description. It says that they're in garlic sauce, so that actually sounded really good to me. I did notice, though, looking at them, the one that says in sunflower oil, the ingredients include the tentacles and the sunflower oil and salt. This one, the tentacles, sunflower oil, garlic, and salt. So there's really not a whole lot of difference, except they added some garlic to the oil and called it garlic sauce. But we will see how these are. And then I got another case of the Chicken Creations, which is chicken salad already mixed up. So it's not just the chicken, it's got the mayonnaise and all that stuff in with it. I got a case of 12. I like to have these. It's just a very thin, you're probably familiar with these. They do have them at the regular grocery store, but I got these from Amazon in my subscribe and save because it was the best deal I could find. Something like this we use to have, say, to put together little MRE packs or to stash in bug out bags because it's a shelf stable. You can eat it right out of the pouch. Put a little pack of crackers or something with this, and you've got a little lunchy meal that's portable. And, you know, we have a certain amount of these that we like to keep on hand. Like, say we like to keep 2 dozen on hand, we would have 2 cases of this on our shelf. And then when the subscribe and save sends the next case, I can add this to the back of the shelf, and I can take out the oldest box and put it right in the pantry, and then we can use it so that we keep our supplies rotated. Because these also make really handy snacks to have just in your purse or in the car if you want to have especially a lower carb, higher protein snack. And I like to open up things like this and just throw it on a lettuce leaf or a 0 carb tortilla or something like that if I need a really quick, more healthy snack. And then this back here is a case of 12. Now this I may live to regret this. I always say if you're trying something new for the first time, don't stock up on it. Don't buy a whole bunch. Just buy, you know, a little bit and try it before you stock up. But the price on these was so much better per can by buying the case that I just couldn't justify paying so much for 1 or 2 cans. I'm hoping that these will be decent. The ingredients is just scallops, water, and salt. So I don't really see how that could go wrong. I was super disappointed. Recently I found some shelf-stable pouches of the imitation crab meat that I love so much. I was really excited to find those pouches. Luckily, I only bought 1 or 2 because when I opened them up and tried them, they were really, really disgusting. So I hope I'm not going to have that experience with these scallops. I hope that they'll be decent. These could be used for some meals in a bag, some shelf-stable pantry meals if they're any good. And I think even if they're not that great, if I throw them in something like a curry or something with a really strong sauce, I don't think I would notice. So I think we'll be able to use these even if we don't like them. But I'm hoping that I've stumbled upon something that we're going to like having in our pantry shelf stable because I do love scallops. I do find it strange the way these are packaged. Each can is inside of a box, and then the can itself is not labeled. I'm not sure why they package them that way, but interesting. Now, next I've got some different pastas, and there's one pasta sauce here. Now, this is kind of random, but I actually found this at Dollar Tree, and I was really excited because usually I don't see glass jar pasta sauce at Dollar Tree. They usually have the Hunt's cans, which are not our favorite sauce, and they're actually much cheaper other places besides Dollar Tree, so I don't buy those. Once, a few years ago, I saw a glass jar of sauce at Dollar Tree, a regular size glass jar. And I bought it to try it and see if it was any good. And I never saw them again. Never had those glass jars again. I looked every time I went in Dollar Tree. We have recently started seeing Prego in glass jars, but it's much smaller. It's not your typical size of pasta sauce, so it's not as good of a value. I bought one of these to try, and if it's any good, if they still have any left, I'll probably keep buying it. I did notice, I was actually surprised at this. If you look at this, this only has 4 grams of carbs and 1 gram of fiber, so 3 grams of net carbs, which is probably one of the lowest pasta sauces I've ever seen. Even the Rao's that people pay a lot of money for, I'd have to look at a jar, but I'm pretty sure they don't have less carbs than this. If you look at the ingredients, they're very simple ingredients. There is no sugar added in these ingredients, which leads me to believe that it might not be a very tasty sauce. But I guess it could probably be doctored up. So I'm going to give it a try and hope that they continue to carry this if it's any good. And then of course I've got a few more boxes of these shelf-stable dry raviolis. These are cheese and truffle, which sounds amazing. And I've got just some plain cheese. These are the raviolette, so those are smaller. Now, I learned about these from my friend Natasha over at the Budget Preppers. She does meals in a jar all the time, just like I love to do meals in a jar. And she did one with these raviolette, so I had to ask her where she got them, and she sent me to Amazon, and I found not only the cheese raviolette that she used, but I found these cheese and truffle ravioli and some mushroom tortellini, which I bought, I think, a 6 or 8 pack of. So I have plenty of those. These, if you remember in one of my last hauls, I had bought some of these, and my naughty dogs got a hold of them and completely ate one whole box of them. So I had to buy some more. And then behind that, I do have this giant stack is 12 bags of the whole wheat egg noodles from Great Value. Like I said, we eat whole grain pastas whenever we are able to. Whole grain anything. If it's available in whole grain, I'll buy it in whole grain. So the egg noodles are available in whole grain, and we do go through quite a few of these in casseroles and in just different recipes and serving different things. You know, you could take anything, even a can of chunky soup or a can of chicken a la king or anything out of your pantry, and just serve it over some egg noodles, and you would have a heartier meal and make it stretch further. And pastas are inexpensive, and they last a very long time in your prepper pantry. I've never had any issues. I've never had to. I know some people living in different climates might have more issues. You might have to repackage your pasta, but I never have had to. I've never had to worry about any kind of Best By dates. I just put these all into plastic bins in our food storage, and they're fine. But Walmart occasionally will have these offers where they're offering multi-packs of things for a really good price. And then usually I buy them, and then I don't see that multi-pack offered again. So that's what happened with these egg noodles. I was able to buy, can't remember if it was a 12 pack or if I was able to buy maybe 2 6-packs. And the price was really good. And now I'm pretty sure they don't have it available anymore. But I was thankful to get this good price while I can, because like I said, we use a lot of these, so we try to keep a lot of these stored up. And next I got some different jars. Now these jars here, these are gallon sized, and I love that they have the chalkboard hanging labels. Those are pretty cute. They did come with some extra seals, labels, the marker, the chalk marker. But what's extra cool about these is they do have this little spot here that opens up, and they did come with some airlocks. So these are going to be for fermenting. And fermenting is another thing, another skill that's really important to learn. It's really good for your health. Eating fermented foods is really, really good for your health, for your digestive health and your immune system and all of that. And it's also a really good kind of old-fashioned way to preserve food without electricity, which is really important for us to have those tools in our little kind of tool belt for preparedness. So I got this. It was a 2-pack of these gallon jars. I remember my mom fermenting and making sauerkraut and things like that in a big crock. And I wish I had a big crock like that, but they're super expensive. So I'm going to start with, I do have quart size jars for fermenting. I have fermenting kits that are quart size that I use, but these are a little bit bigger. These are gallon. And then I got these ball honeybee jars. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see they've got a honeybee design on them with some honeycomb. Now, bees are something that has kind of become really significant to us, especially in the last year or so. We've been on kind of an adventure with beekeeping. It's definitely been a saga. It's had its ups and downs, and I'm not even sure right now if we're in an up or a down. There have been some rough patches, but maybe we'll tell you all about that in an upcoming video. But we have started with the beekeeping, so I thought that these would be great. for maybe storing some honey in them if we actually get any honey out of our beehives. And there's some other reasons that bees have become kind of meaningful to us lately. So I just wanted to grab these while I saw them at a decent price, because they're one of those things that will go out of stock, and then you can still get them, but they're offered by other sellers who have the price jacked way up. So when they came back in stock right through Walmart, I ordered four cases. It's just 4 jars in a case. And these are pint jars. I don't think they have them in quart. I'll have to double check. They might. If they do, I'll probably try to get my hand on some quart jars. But these are pints. So I got 16 of these. And then, of course, over here, I've got another bunch of stuff. I didn't really have a lot of rhyme or reason to how I put things up here this time. It was just kind of where I could get it to fit. So this is some more of these AC Legs sausage seasonings. I love these. I've started buying them, and they have so many different flavors available, so many different variations. So I'm still buying them. But my idea with these sausage seasonings is you can use these to make your own sausage. Now these bags are pretty inexpensive. I want to say they're around $6 to $8 maybe, and they're enough to season 25 pounds of meat if you were going to make your own sausage. So if you raise your own pigs or you make any kind of sausage, this is great. But what I also wanted these for is just to be able to add a more specific sausage flavor. If you to my meals in a jar, for instance, if you use freeze-dried sausage crumbles from any company, they're usually a pretty mild, nondescript sausage flavor, so it can kind of fit into any dish. And sometimes I want a more specific Italian sausage flavor or a more specific breakfast sausage flavor. So I've been using these for that. And I also like that I can add these to a plain ground meat, like if I have ground pork, ground beef, ground turkey, any kind of ground meat, and I want to make a dish where I would typically use sausage, I can use these seasonings and use the plain ground meat the same way I would use sausage. Like for Christmas morning, I always make a breakfast casserole with breakfast sausage. And of course, my middle daughter is a vegetarian. So what I did was I took some vegetarian ground beef substitute and I used one of these sausage mixes to make it into sausage for her so she could have a breakfast casserole too. So this one here is a breakfast sausage seasoning. I think I have blend 10, which is good. And this is a different flavor, just a different flavor like a breakfast sausage. So I got this one to try and see which one we like better. And then I saw the maple flavored breakfast sausage. So that sounded really good too. Now, sometimes they come as sets of 2 or 4. And like I said, they're very reasonably priced. I get them on Amazon. I will put the links down below. They're very, very reasonably priced, especially considering how far they go. And now back here, I've got something that is also health related, except this is not for us. This is actually for our chickens, and our ducks, actually both. These are actually black soldier fly larvae, like grubs. They're not live, they're dead. And black soldier flies are really, really awesome for your birds, like your chickens and ducks, because they've got compared to like mealworms, which is what we used to buy sometimes for treats, these have much, much more calcium. And not only that, but it has the perfect calcium to phosphorus ratio, so your birds can get more calcium out of it, which is really going to help them out. Now, I really, really wanted this past year to raise my own black soldier fly larva for the birds, but it didn't happen. Usually when there's a project like that I really want to do, what I really mean is I want Mr. Wicked prepared to do it for me. And I think he just wasn't falling all over himself to raise, grubs for me. So we didn't get that project off the ground. And so sometimes, if you don't have the time to do something yourself, sometimes it's worth just buying it already done for you. So we grabbed these for our birds, and I'm super excited to see how they like them. And then back here, I've got a couple more boxes of cereal, these vanilla spice Cheerios, basically just vanilla cinnamon flavor. I think cereal's a really great thing to have in your prepper pantry. I mean, you're going to get a couple years of storage out of it. It's not a long-term food, but it's not real short-term. Some people will put it into mason jars, vacuum seal it, or use oxygen absorbers and get a lot longer-term storage out of it. To me, it's not really worth doing that. It would take up too much space, the amount of cereal we would go through to put it into mason jars. But we just keep it, rotate through it. You can have a good meal with a box of cereal and some shelf-stable milk, either some Tetra Pak milk or some milk powder that you like. You can have a complete meal. You can snack on it dry or munch on it dry if that's all you have. Doesn't require any power, electricity for that. And also I like that cereal is fortified, which means it just has the extra vitamins and minerals added, just a little bit of extra nutritional insurance. I think Cheerios is one of the healthiest cereals you can get. Not this one as much because it's multigrain instead of just being oats, but still, these were marked down to $1.50. This is a huge family size box, and there was an Ibotta offer for $1 off of 2. So I grabbed 2 boxes and got them for $1 a piece, and they're huge boxes. So anytime I can get cereal for $1 a box or less, I grab it. And then these are a couple of Sriracha seasoning powders. You know I love making meals in a jar, so anytime I'm looking at a recipe, my mind is going to, can I make this into a meal in a jar, or could I make this into a meal in a jar? So I've been looking at some Asian kind of recipes lately that use Sriracha sauce in them, so I wanted to get a couple of dry powdered seasonings that I might be able to substitute in a meal in a jar. So I grabbed these 2 to try. And then I grabbed this. This is one of those things, it's a automatic potato peeler, and it's one of those things that I probably would have always thought was a total scam and didn't really work. But somebody on my Facebook friends list posted a video of one they got for Christmas, and it was peeling the potato, and it was really working. And so I will usually grab something. If I see something in action and it's really working, then I will grab the exact one that I saw that the person had. So this was only like $20, I think, on Amazon. So I got this to try. I absolutely hate peeling potatoes. So I've gotten to the point that I rarely peel them anymore. We usually include the skins in just about every thing that we do, whether it's potato salad or mashed potatoes or anything like that. But just in case I might want to peel the potatoes, I figured I'd grab this. I do like to can French fries, and I like to peel them for that. So I'm hoping that between this and my French fry cutter, it'll be a really easy process. This does have an AC adapter, but it also can run on batteries. So theoretically, this could be something you could use in an emergency situation if you needed to. But like I said, it can also help me with some of my food preparation and getting food put up for us to have for emergencies. And next I got one of these emergency meal buckets. This is Thrive Life's new bucket that they have, and it's got 12 different pouches. So it's got 6 different meals, 2 of each. And each one has 3 servings. So this is 36 servings. And that's going to depend on how much you eat or your family eats. Like we would typically get usually 2 servings out of these pouches. But I was just talking to somebody the other day who said that she really does get 3 servings out of them. So it really depends on how much you eat. But I grabbed this bucket actually to use as a gift and not to have in our food storage, because we have quite a few of these meals already. They're not in a bucket. We got them before they came out with the bucket, but that's okay with me. I got this to use as a gift. My brother has a birthday coming up, and I thought that this would be a really good gift for, a guy who maybe doesn't cook a lot, but you want them to be able to have some emergency food on hand. I thought this would be perfect for him. And of course, these meals do have a 20-year shelf life, so that's really good. They've got 2 of the blueberry oatmeal, 2 of the breakfast skillet, 2 creamy beef with rotini, which is kind of like Alfredo, 2 creamy mashed potato bowl, 2 of the Southwest chicken, and 2 of the cheesy chicken. And the thing I love about these meals is that they all have real fruits and vegetables in them. Other than the oatmeal, they all have real meat, plenty of meat in them, which a lot of these meals don't. A lot of these buckets, I did a video where I kind of debunked some of these buckets. And so most of them are not something that I would purchase. But these meals, I know because I've tried these meals, they have real vegetables, real fruits, real meats in them, not just fillers like a lot of brands. And next over here, I've got some bulk ingredients for some Asian dishes. Like I said, I've been looking at a lot of recipes lately. These are just lo mein seasoning packets. I have a lot of these packets. I feel like these are an easy way. You can actually use these in meals in a jar. It's kind of like a cheater, quick and easy way to do like an Asian style meal in a jar. You can use these packets, or you could just do a meal. You could use some meat that you have canned in your pantry, or some freeze-dried meat that you have, and it just calls for a few other ingredients. You can use some canned vegetables or freeze-dried vegetables and have a good different pantry meal. The lo mein is one of the seasonings that I've had the hardest time finding, and it was just really expensive. I ended up buying, I think, a 24 pack, so I got quite a few of these, but it made it the best price per packet. And my kids honestly love lo mein. They love Asian food, so I'm sure that we will use these all up eventually. They're gonna last a really long time. And then I got, this is something that I had actually never heard of until I read this recipe that I want to try, and it called for this soy paste. And I was surprised that this was of something I'd never heard of, because honestly, like, I cook a lot. I cook a lot of different foods. If you've seen my hauls regularly, you know I buy a lot of different ingredients. So it really kind of surprised me there was something I'd honestly never heard of. But I got a big bottle of this to try. I'm going to try out the recipe, and I'm going to try out this ingredient and see what we think. And if we like it and we like the recipe, we'll probably grab a lot more of these. And then this is a bulk box of 12 packages of wide lo mein noodles. These are also something I'm going to use in that recipe that I was talking about, that I bought the soy paste for. But also my kids love lo mein. They love any kind of noodles. I have a lot of other recipes I can use those in. We have a lot of similar types of noodles, but I don't have these specific ones. And next I've got a few things I bought on clearance. I actually bought a case of everything that was on clearance. You can see I kind of use that tactic now for saving money. I buy things in bulk. Usually you get a much better price or somewhat better price on each individual item if you buy them in bulk. It's hard to do that when you're first starting out with your prepper pantry because you need such a wide variety of things. It's hard to be able to just focus on a mass quantity of a few things. But once you spend some time building your prepper pantry, that's when you have a little more flexibility to just focus on a couple of things at a time and buy them in bulk. And that can really help you save money. So these two cans here are both tomato powder. And this is a number 10 can, a family can, and this is a pantry can, which is a quart size. And these are on clearance, and I've had people asking me about this, so I thought I would talk about this in this video. Thrive Life has these on clearance. They're non-refundable, and it says that they're hardened, I think is what the term they used. So I had bought one a while back to try to see how bad it was, because my tomato powder always hardens anyways. Once you have it open, it usually hardens. It's just the nature of the beast because tomatoes contain a lot of sugar, and it's never really been an issue. You can still use it just the same. It dissolves pretty easily once you get it into the liquid of your dish. Now, Thrive Life had tomato powder years ago, and they ended up getting rid of it, and I believe it was because it did tend to clump after it had been open a while and people would complain. So they got rid of it, and then of course many people just begged them to bring it back because this is a big favorite item for people to have in their prepper pantry because it's so versatile. It is only tomatoes. It's made up of just tomato. Nothing else, no preservatives. That's why it tends to clump. If you have a brand that's not clumping, chances are they probably added other things to it besides tomato. But you can use this powder to make tomato juice, tomato sauce, or tomato paste, depending on how much water you add to it. It thickens beautifully. It gives a really rich tomato flavor. A little bit goes a long way. So it's just an ingredient that a lot of people like to have, especially if you do meals in a jar where you need dry versions of ingredients. So they finally brought it back after people begging for years, and they've had it back for a while. And then I think because they were experiencing it clumping and hardening in the can, they decided to discontinue it again. So they have what's left marked way down, and it's non-refundable, non-returnable. It says right on it it's hardened. So like I said, I had bought one to test out, and inside the can, it's sealed in a Mylar bag inside the can. So it does sound like it's a big clump because it is, because it's in a bag. So what I found, I opened up the can that I had bought, and I could feel that the tomato powder inside was kind of hard. But I just started massaging the bag, and I could kind of break up a lot of it just by doing that and kind of banging it on my counter. So I got a lot of it broken up inside the bag, and then I opened the bag, and what I ended up doing was if I just passed it through a wire mesh strainer, it completely turned back into powder. So it was really not very badly hardened. Like, it wasn't anywhere close to as hardened as it will get when I've had it open for a while. So to me, this was completely worth purchasing because it's sealed in the can and in the Mylar bag inside the can. I know that no additional moisture is going to get to it. I don't think it's going to clump really any worse than it was when I opened this can. So to me, that was worth buying a bunch more while it's on clearance, and because I don't know how easy it will be to find in the future. So I did get a case of the small cans, which is 10 of the small cans, and I got a case of the large cans, which is 6 of the large cans. And that should be enough to last me probably for the rest of my life. Now, once I open this, I have been storing it now in a mason jar because that's going to keep moisture out a lot better than the canisters that I use for most of my foods. So that's one change that I've made that should hopefully help this to stay more usable. The next thing I bought on clearance was the instant milk powder. This is 50% off just because it's overstocked. You know, most of Thrive Life's items in cans like this have a shelf life of 25 years. So when people purchase it, they are purchasing it with a 25-year shelf life. So if they produce too much, they try to produce just enough to sell within, you know, no longer than a year. Because after that, you no longer have a 25-year shelf life, you have a 24-year shelf life. So this time they produced way too much milk and they had some left over. So it's been over a year, so the shelf life is slightly reduced, but they've got it marked down 50%. And so to me, it's very worth it to stock up on 24-year shelf life instant milk at 50% off. So I got another case of, I've been buying quite a few cases of this because we do use a lot of this. This is really good instant milk. This one tastes really good. It works really well in recipes. I've made yogurt out of it. I've made all sorts of things out of it. So I got another case of this. And then the scrambled egg mix, this was actually not on clearance. This wasn't even on sale, which I typically tend to buy things on sale, but this is just one of our most used products and I wanted to make sure that I didn't run out. So I had to grab a can, even though it was regular price. But we use this for so many things, meals in a jar. I made a lot of eggnog over the holidays that I used both the milk and the eggs for. I use this in a lot of baking mixes because it's a dry scrambled egg mix. It's very versatile and it's something I use a lot. So I did grab one can of that. And then over here, my last couple of things are from Azure Standard. If you're not familiar with Azure Standard, they are like a huge, sort of like a huge online health food store. And they basically ship all over the country. You just look for a drop near your area. I'll put a link down below where you can check and see if there is a drop in your area. Most likely there probably is. And they have really amazing prices. It's become one of my go-to places where I check prices. I check my warehouse clubs, I check Walmart, Amazon, and I check Azure. And quite often I find the best prices at Azure. Now this is a grain that I was not even really familiar with until my friend sent this my way. It's called teff, and she sent me a little infographic showing all the health benefits of this teff grain. And so I went right out and ordered one from Azure so I could give it a try because it's really, really got a lot of health benefits. And that's another thing I love about Azure is being able to find a lot of things that I probably wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. And then the last thing over here is a case of these black soybeans. This is something that's really new on my radar. I was looking up different food storage foods that are good for keto because I have a lot of people who ask me about, you know, keto and low carb and diabetic diets and things like that. And I tend to try to eat like that a lot as well. So I found that actually black soybeans are actually a bean that can fit into a low carb and keto diet. So I thought I would grab some to try. I recently got a bag of dry black soybeans, and then I got this case of canned black soybeans to try. So I will keep you up to date on what we think about the black soybeans. Okay, so I promised to show you how the Pantry Chic works. Now I've got this canister filled up with sugar. These canisters will hold, like I think this was a 4-pound bag of sugar I put in here. And I put a 5-pound bag of flour in the flour canister, so that's what they'll hold. All right, so I love the way that the cord tucks into the back of the machine here. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on my first smart canister. This one is sugar. So I'm gonna push the spoon. So now I just toggle through all the different ingredients. And there is a whole list of all the different ingredients that it will dispense that are pre-programmed into it. And then at the same time, you can actually do a custom ingredient by using other and just registering it to the weight that you want it to dispense or to the closest ingredient to the one that you want to use. But there's a pretty extensive list. I was surprised at how many items are pre-programmed into this unit. Okay, sugar, granulated white, and press the button again. And now my canister is assigned. So the way that these canisters work is the machine can sense which canister is on there. Each canister has its own special ID. I thought it was a barcode, but it's not. So I think it's something in this little white circle that they all have, and the machine senses that. And so once you assign what's in that canister, the first time you use it. Anytime you put that canister on the machine knows what ingredient it is, and it knows, you know, the weight of that ingredient, so it can dispense the exact amount that you want every time. All right, so I'm going to do a 1/2 cup. Wow. And there's my 1/2 cup of sugar. And now I could continue on, if I was actually making a recipe, I could continue on adding all the other canisters that I needed to dispense and dispensing the amount of ingredients that I needed. And you can do, these are cups. I can change the unit. That's grams, kilograms, ounces, fluid ounces, pounds. Now we're on teaspoons. So if you're doing spices or something, you can do different amounts of teaspoons, or you can just go up to tablespoons. Back to cups. I am super, super, super excited to start baking with this. I'm going to be filling these up. I've got my sugar and my flour filled. I'm going to fill up baking soda, baking powder, chocolate chips, oatmeal. I'm going to put taco seasoning, things like that. I'm really, really excited to get this set up. Okay guys, that's what we've added to our prepper pantry and our supplies this week, as well as some new things we've added to hopefully improve our health and our immunity and make a few things in the kitchen easier and run more smoothly. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a fireworks emoji down in the comments, and check out this video next with some healthy, nutrient-packed meals in a jar. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.